Hi everyone, my name's Dave Meikle and I'm joined today with the National Director of Youth for Christ and the author of the new book, Lost Boys, Cindy McGarvie.
Hi Dave, thanks for having me.
No worries. Cindy, we're faced with this suicide epidemic at the moment, and it's really fascinating because we are actually in one of the most wealthy countries and times, and yet we're seeing this epidemic of young men just throwing their lives away. Like, how big is this crisis?
Yeah, Dave, this is a really big crisis, and I was really surprised when I started researching for my book. So, suicide is the biggest killer in young people in Australia from 12 to 24.
Wow.
And in men, or young men from 15 up to 24, it's actually suicide is the biggest killer. So when I continued to do research, I found that with young men from ages, say, 19 to 24, suicide rates among them are over 4 times that of girls.
Wow, that's a huge stat. Why do you think that this is happening? What's behind this trend?
I think there's a lot of things, but I think mainly it's our culture. Our culture teaches young people that there's no truth. There's no absolute truth. There's nihilism, which is the religion of young people today, and it says that there's no meaning in life, no purpose, which also means no truth, and they have to find their own truth.
And would you say that because of this constant search for truth, where they're just unsure of all that there's then a depression or there's an anxiety that's coming into them that's actually then feeding some of this?
Yeah, I think so. And I've read a lot of comments online of people discussing it when young men come to the conclusion that actually there's no God, there's no purpose, there's no meaning in life. And all of them say that it was a really depressing time and that they have to find their own truth. They have to find some sort of purpose in life. So unless they find that purpose, they're going to be lost. And it seems to be a depressing kind of result of that belief.
And we're also seeing that there's some other elements that are bringing into that cycle as well. You know, we're seeing, especially in young men, this porn addiction and how that's also affecting their mental states as well.
Yeah, and so I think part of this pursuit of pleasure is one of the things we're seeing is a porn epidemic. And a lot of researchers, psychologists say that the result of that cycle of watching porn produces a depressing, self-loathing kind of feeling. And so it's not uplifting for young men to be involved in that in the end. So I think it's contributing, as some experts say, that it actually is contributing to the suicide crisis and depression in young men.
So Cindy, what does this look like for Australia in figures?
What it looks like, Dave, is that 45 men every week take their own lives, and this has to stop.
So Cindy, you've just released your new book, Lost Boys, and you cover a lot of the suicide crisis and you cover a lot of the porn addiction. What else is covered in the book?
Basically, Dave, I lay out the state of play of the situation of what boys are facing, what the culture is throwing at them, and how they're handling it, and what we can do about it.
Yeah, so it's a really important book, and I think the church needs to be reading it. And so if anyone is interested in getting a hold of that book, you can go now to lostboys.org.au and make sure you can pick up a copy today.